Jigsaw. It's not Jigsaw. I mean, okay, Jigsaw has little swirlies on his cheeks, but I would understand where you were coming from if you guessed Jigsaw. Well, you saw the title of the video, so if you have any context of what the freak a creepypasta is, you might know. I'm Jeff the Killer. I'm little Jeff the Killer, guys. So, what the freak? So, in this video, I'm gonna be reading you guys some creepypastas. Some creepypastas. Now, I have to be honest. I have only ever read the Jeff the Killer creepypasta, and it was when I was like a very young child. Well, young enough that the creepypasta was, or old enough that the creepypasta was out, but young enough that I barely remember anything other than being really scared and playing the game Run from Jeff the Killer on Little Big Planet 2 on the PS2, 3, I can't remember. But I thought today we would go and I would read you some classic creepypastas. That's right, some classic creepypastas. What the heck, guys? No, wait, okay, he doesn't have, like, eyebrows, so I don't raise my eyebrows. See, okay, the thought behind the wig, he does have black hair in the original photo, but it's, like, down at his sides. But the thought behind the wig is that I was, like, trying to imitate those, like, e-boy fan art that they used to have on Tumblr. I don't know if e-boy was really what it was called back then, but, like, his hair's all scruffy, kind of like Elle from Death Note. Okay. Itchy, you guys. Okay, now that there's light on it, you can see how bad the skin is. Guys, stop. Stop. Don't make fun of me. Let's go ahead. Alright, let's learn about our boy Jeff here. Okay. Ooh, that's looking good. Except my scalp. I think this is the original freaking crazy. I'm on creepypasta. Without further ado, I know that the original version is from 2011, but obviously there are like a gazillion. Also, he doesn't wear a button up. He's just like wearing a freaking shirt. Whatever. Don't judge me. I can't get comfortable in this wig. Okay. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. Quote, "I had a bad dream and I woke in the middle of the night," says the boy. "I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling like someone was watching me." I looked up and nearly jumped out of bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. After what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in only a way a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off of me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and fancy neighborhoods. God, their writing is stellar. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done packing, Jeff went up to his room. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now, we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. "Hey, what the hell?" It landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard and caught it with his hands. Oh, this guy's a cool guy. The kid seems to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Hell yeah. Well. Looks like we've got some new meat. Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other one was huge. "Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith." Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. "And he's Troy." Then he looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. Oh my god. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. Goddamn. Okay. "And I," said the first kid, "am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for the bus fare, if you catch my drift." Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Jesus Christ. Tisk, tisk, tisk. "I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but seems we must do this the hard way." The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. So descriptive. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. "Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet, or else." Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. "Oh, and what will you do?" Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Jesus. Randy screamed, and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed to Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. Wow, he's so badass. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach, and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Goddamn. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing. So they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did is sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop. And now, oh, that is badly written. Stay away for the entire day of school, period. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop. And now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, but he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Okay, next morning he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find the 2 police officers at his door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. "Jeff, these officers tell me you attacked these kids. That wasn't regular fighting, and that they were that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son." Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones that pulled knives on me and Lou." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise in his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them getting attacked first. Proof it was not. Okay, they couldn't say that they weren't fleeing, because truth be told they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. "Son, call down your brother." Jeff couldn't do it, since it was he who beat up all the kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one that beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner, and they both nodded. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie." "Wait," says Lou. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officer pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it." He lifted his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. "Son, just put the knife down," said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Lou, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. I remember that. That was really sad. Poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. "Well, take me away." The police led Lou out to the patrol car. "Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them I was the one that beat up those kids." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. "Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can stop." Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway. Seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it?" Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him, as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Lou at JDC. No friends to hang out with. Nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woken by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. Billy's party. He was now fully awake. Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after... There was a long pause. Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now, get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and his father all dressed up. His mother had a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Son, is that all you're going to wear? Said Jeff's mom. Better than wearing too much, he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression. Damn, for a kid's birthday party, said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around to his closet for what he would call fancy. God, the writing is stellar. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which go with dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on. Oh, see, I'm canonically not correct. You're wearing that? They both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh, no time to change. Let's just go, she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. Okay, like a verb. She overdressed. Okay. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. The kids are out in the yard, Jeff. How about you go meet some of them, said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. Hey, one up way, he said. P-W-A-Y, way. Ah, no kid. I'm way too old for this stuff. The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. Please, he said. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first, he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Lou. So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise. A weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. They jumped over the fence on their skateboards? What the hell? Is that possible? Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred. Hello, Jeff, is it? He said. We have some unfinished business in front of the kids. It's crazy. Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you get my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and they both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. What the fuck? No one interrupts or guts will fly, they said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jesus Christ. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Damn, bro, these middle schoolers are intense as hell. What did they even... Why did they even approach with knives in the first place? I don't understand. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks up Jeff and throws him into the kitchen. Oh, fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to the JDC, and now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot there for a whole year. You should be ashamed. The fuck's he supposed to do? Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand and fight. Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Wow, that's badass. Yeah, I remember that. Crazy. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. Wow. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. Oh my god. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. He punched this guy to death. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each a shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He is more agile than Troy, though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. It wasn't open. Jeff wiped his eyes as best he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. What's so funny? Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. What's funny, he said, is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. Yeah, I remember that. It was really messed up. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, dropped to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out. When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm, and when he tried to get up, it fell out and a nurse rushed in. I don't think you can get out of bed just yet, she said as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. Honey, are you okay? She asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered and he was unable to speak. Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go. This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again. Mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. Damn, that was quick. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Okay. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family members were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. This is kind of messed up. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. Let's hope for the best, said the doctor. He doesn't know. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Damn. Lou and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What? What happened to my face? Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned to a pure white color and his hair singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family and then back to the mirror. Jeff, said Lou, it's not that bad. Not that bad, said Jeff. It's perfect. His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Yeah, I do that sometimes. Jeff, are you okay? Okay, I never felt more happy. Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped. Now he was left as a crazy killing machine. Doctor, said Jeff's mom, is my son alright? In the head. Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here and we'll give him a psychological test. Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror. His face still formed into a crazy smile. Okay, mommy. Ha 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 ha. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and stitched together. Damn, the hospital did that. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. That's traumatizing AF, bro. Then they left, not knowing this was their final day of life. Just spoiling the ending, Jesus. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. Jeff, what are you doing? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. Jeff, ringed. Is that a word? Ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes. His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face. Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son. Yes, you are. Let me Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife. "Mommy, you lied." That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with a knife, cutting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Jeff said, "Just go to sleep." I remember that. That was awesome. Okay, y'all. I'm taking the wig off. Wow, this is definitely a look. But I'm going to read at least one more creepypasta. I've been filming for almost 40 minutes, so I'm gonna find one that is a short read. Alright, y'all, we're going in with another classic. Smile Dog. Are you ready? I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary had initially agreed since I was not a newsman, but rather an amateur writer gathering information for a few early college assignments, and, if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction. We scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago on unrelated business, but at the last moment Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door, I listening and taking notes while he attempted fruitlessly to calm his wife. Wait, Loki, why am I giving Ronald McDonald? The things Mary said made little sense, but it fit with the pattern I was expecting. Though I could not see her, I could tell from her voice that she was crying. And more often than not, her objections to speaking with me centered around an incoherent diatribe on her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recall that I wasn't a reporter in search of a story, but merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought at the time, perhaps I could find another similar case if I just put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was the psyop for a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992 when she first encountered Smile.jpg, and her life changed forever. She and Terrence had been married for only 5 months. Mary was one of an estimated 400 people who saw the image when it was posted as a hyperlink on the BBS, though she is the only one who has spoken openly about her experience. The rest have remained anonymous or are perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in 10th grade, Smile.jpg was first brought to my attention by my burgeoning interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was the most often cited victim of what is sometimes referred to as smile.dog. The being smile.jpg is reputed to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious macabre events of the cyber legend and my proclivity towards such things, wow, the writing in this is so much better, was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point that people don't believe it even exists, other than as a rumor or a hoax. It is unique because, though the entire phenomenon centers on a picture file, that file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly many photo-manipulated simulacra litter the web, showing up with the most frequency on sites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the focused paranormal subboard. It is suspected that these are fakes because they do not have the effect of the true Smile.jpg is believed to have, namely sudden onset temporal lobe epilepsy and acute anxiety. Oh my god, I have temporal lobe epilepsy. Wait, no, I have left frontal lobe epilepsy. Damn. Maybe I saw Smile Dog. Maybe I am Jeff the Killer. Maybe I'm Mary B or Mary V or Mary E. Ever consider that? This purported such disdain, since it is patently absurd, though depending on whom you ask, the reluctance to acknowledge smile.jpg's existence might be just as much out of fear as it is out of disbelief. Neither smile.jpg nor smile.dog is mentioned anywhere on Wikipedia, though the website features articles on such other, perhaps more scandalous shock sites, such as Asterix, hello.jpg, or Two Girls One Cup. Any attempt to create a page pertaining to smile.jpg is deleted by any of the encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters with smile.jpg are the stuff of internet legend. Mary E's story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of smile.jpg showing up in the early days of Usenet, and even one persistent tale that in 2002 a hacker flooded the forums of humor and satire website Something Awful with a deluge of smile.dog pictures, rendering almost half the forum's users at the time epileptic. Damn, it's like epilepsy is like the worst ever thing to be stricken with. It is also said that in the mid to late 90s that smile.jpg circulated on Usenet and as an attachment of a chain email with the subject, "Smile, God loves you." Yet despite the huge exposure these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having experienced any of them, and no trace of the file or any link has ever been discovered. Those who have claimed to see smile.jpg often weakly joke that they were far too busy to save a copy of the picture to their hard drive. However, all alleged victims offer the same description of the photo: a dog-like creature, usually described as appearing similar to a Siberian husky, illuminated by the flash of the camera, sitting in a dim room, the only background detail that is visible being a human hand extending from the darkness near the left side of the frame. The hand is empty, but is usually described as beckoning. Of course, most attention is given to the dog, or dog creature, as some victims are more certain than others about what they claim to have seen. The muzzle of the beast is reputably split in a wide grin, revealing 2 rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This, of course, is not a description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims, who claim to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time they are, in reality, having epileptic fits. These fits are reported to continue indeterminably, often while victims sleep, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medication, though in some instances it is more effective than others. Mary E., I assumed, was not on effective medication. That's why after my visit to her apartment in 2007, I've sent out feelers to several folklore and urban legend-oriented news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of a supposed victim of smile.jpg who felt more interested in talking about his experiences. For a time, nothing happened, and at length I forgot completely about my pursuits, since I had begun my freshman year of college and was quite busy. Mary contacted me via email, however, near the beginning of March 2008. Added by Moose Juice to jml@blank.com from Mary E. at blank.net. Subject: last summer's interview. It reads, "Dear Mr. L, I am incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that it was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out as I did. I did realize that I could have handled the situation more decorously. However, I hope you will forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years I have been haunted by smile.jpg. Smile Dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. There is an ineffable quality about my dreams, my nightmares, that makes them completely unlike any other real dreams I've ever had. I do not move, I do not speak, I simply look ahead, and the only thing ahead of me is the scene from that horrible picture. I see the beckoning hand, I see Smile Dog. It talks to me. It is not a dog, of course, though I am not quite quite sure what it really is. It tells me it will leave me alone only if I do as it asks. All I must do, it says, is spread the word. That's how it phrases its demands, and I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else. I think I know what's gonna happen. Oh, my computer was glitching out. Why am I actually kind of grouped out? I could. The week after my incident, I received in the mail a manila envelope with no return address. Inside was a 3.5-inch floppy diskette. Without having to check, I knew precisely what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger, a co-worker. I could even show it to Terrence, as much as the idea disgusted me. And what would happen then? Well, if Smile.dog kept its word, I could sleep. Yet, if it lied, what would I do? And who is to say something worse would not come for me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years, though I kept the diskette hidden amongst my things. Every night for 15 years, Smile.dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded that I spread the word. For 15 years I've stood strong, though there have been many hard times. Many of my fellow victims on the BBS board where I first encountered Smile.jpg stopped posting. I heard some of them committed suicide. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off the face of the web. They are the ones I worry about the most. I sincerely hope you will forgive me, Mr. L, but last summer when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was near the breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy diskette. I did not care if Smile.dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You were a stranger, someone who I had no connection with, and I thought I would not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as a part of your research, and I sealed your fate. Before you arrived, I realized what I was doing. I was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought, and in fact I still cannot. I am ashamed, Mr. L, and I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigation of Smile.jpg. You may in time encounter someone who is, if not weaker than I, then wholly more depraved, someone who will not hesitate to follow Smile.dog's orders. Stop while you are still whole. Sincerely, Mary E. Whoa. Gulp. Terrence contacted me later that month with the news that his wife had killed herself. While cleaning up the various things she'd left behind, closing email accounts and the like, he happened upon the above message. He was a man in shambles. He wept as he told me to listen to his wife's advice. He found the diskette, he revealed, and burned it until it was nothing but a stinking pile of blackened plastic. The part that most disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed as it melted, like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit that I was a little uncertain about how to respond to this. At first I thought it was perhaps a joke, with the couple blatantly playing with the situation in order to get a rise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago newspapers' online's obituaries, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of suicide in the article. I decided that, for a time at least, I would not further pursue the subject of Smile.jpg, especially since I had finals coming up at the end of May. But the world has odd ways of testing us. Almost a full year after I'd returned from my disastrous interview with Mary E., I received another email to jml@.com from Eliza, HIR82 @blank.com. Subject, smile. Hello, I found your email address through a mailing list. Your profile said you are interested in Smile.dog. I have saw it. It is not as bad as everyone says. I have sent it to you here, just spreading the word. Smiley face. The final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attachment called, naturally, Smile.jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was most likely a fake, I imagined, and even if it weren't, I was never wholly convinced of Smile.jpg's peculiar powers. Mary E.'s account had shaken me, yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. JPEG was said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with the power of the eye? Bro, why am I creeped out? I feel like I'm sitting in this completely dark room reading this. I promise it's creepier when you're in my position. And if such things were patently absurd, then why did the legend exist at all? If I downloaded the image, if I looked at it, and if Mary turned out to be correct, if Smile Dog came to me in my dreams demanding I spread the word, what would I do? Would I live my life as Mary had, fighting against the urge to give in until I died? Or would I simply spread the word, eager to be put to rest? And if I chose the latter route, how could I do it? Whom would I burden in turn? If I went through with my earlier intention to write a short article about smile.jpg, I decided I could attach it as evidence, and anyone who read the article, anyone who took interest, would be affected. Why would you do that? And even assuming the smile.jpg attached to the email was genuine, would I be capricious enough to save myself in that manner? Could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could. Smile Dog. Insert photo of Smile Dog. Oh my god, this is supposed to be the article. Okay, y'all, I've been filming for an hour. I literally only read 2 creepypastas, so I'm sorry if that was underwhelming, but I am itching so bad